So I was thinking about my collection and going through some of the DVDs that I've got in storage and trying to come up with an idea for a video. I thought it would be interesting to see what I've got on DVD that have never had a UK release or on physical, or have yet to have a Blu-ray release here in the UK. May have been released on DVD, but may not have had a Blu-ray release in the UK or a 4K release in the UK, in films that I think deserve to have some form of high definition upgrade. So I've gone through a few. I've picked a few. Some of these are sort of cheats because they have had high definition upgrades, but in other countries. So one of them I know has had a couple of Blu-ray releases in Germany, but in very limited edition versions. So I'm going to go through these, and I know one of them is actually coming. So these are the DVDs. I'm not going to show you the spines because you'll guess what they are, because this is going to be pretty obvious, isn't it? So the first one is Keenan Ivory Wayans movie called Low Down Dirty Shame. It is a action comedy from 1997, I think, or 96. What is it? What year? Well, I can't find the year now. But this was released by Hollywood Pictures, so this would be under Touchstone, I believe. I think it's Touchstone, so that would technically be a Disney movie. And as we all know, Disney no longer in the physical media realm, but their deal with Sony may open up the archives of Touchstone and Hollywood Pictures and stuff like that. So we might at some point see a release of Low Down Dirty Shame, but this is a very fun 90s action comedy written and directed by Andrew Divoff. Not Andrew Divoff. He is in it. Andrew Divoff is in it. Keenan Ivory Wayans. Also stars Jada Pinkett Smith and Sally Richardson and Andrew Divoff and Charles S. Dutton. Keenan Ivory Wayans made another film around the same time as this called Most Wanted, which was another action movie that co-starred Jon Voight as like the main villain, and he basically plays the main villain in most movies. But I think this is a really cool movie. This came out around the same time as like Bulletproof with Adam Sandler and Metro, the Eddie Murphy action film. So you had these like 18 rated, well, in America they would have been R-rated. In the UK they were 18 rated, like violent action movies or action comedies where like you could get away with doing certain things. These days we don't see these type of films anymore. I think the closest we get to this type of action comedy would be something like The Fall Guy or like Deadpool or like Nobody, that type of stuff. You don't get full on like action comedies anymore, what, like straight up violent action comedies. I mean, there's a reason this is going to be an 18. I mean, the language is frequent and strong. There is no sex and nudity. The violence is frequent and strong, and other is none. But remember these little things on the back of DVDs and videos that gave you a breakdown of the contents of the movie? I mean, I kind of miss them on the back of DVDs or on the back of Blu-rays. It'd be nice to see that return at some point. But yeah, this is a really fun movie about a ex-cop turned private detective hired to track down his former girlfriend and $20 million in stolen drug money. He's got a trusty sidekick who's played by Jada Pinkett Smith. And yeah, it's a fun movie. Like I said, it's got Andrew Divoff in it, and Andrew Divoff is always great at playing the villain in the majority of stuff he's in. He was the Wishmaster in the Wishmaster series of movies. He played, what's his name? He was the Russian guy from Lost, Mikhail from Lost, who seemingly wasn't able to die. He's the villain in Walter Hill's Another 48 Hours. He's the villain in Toy Soldiers, the Sean Astin movie from the late 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, about the terrorists who take over a private school. Fun movie, by the way. It's got Lou Gossett Jr. in it. He's great. Recently passed away, which is quite sad. But yeah, I'd like to see Low Down Dirty Shame get a Blu-ray release or a high-definition upgrade. But considering it is now basically owned by Sony, or it is owned by Sony, not Sony, Disney, as it is owned by Disney, we may never get round to actually seeing a high-definition copy of this, which is a shame because it's a fun movie, along with Most Wanted, the other Keenan Ivory Wayans movie from around the same time, so 98, 99, that period of time. Another movie that I would love to see get a high-definition upgrade in the UK. I'm not entirely sure if this has had a high-def upgrade, but it's a film from, I think it's 1995. 1995. It's a action movie. Again, another 18-rated action movie from the mid-90s. This one is starring Christopher Lambert, or Christophe Lambert, or Christopher Lambert, however you say it. It's called The Hunted. This is a very cool movie. If you've never seen it, try and track down a copy of The Hunted. It is a great movie. It is a movie that encompasses Japanese Yakuza and traditions, along with American cop movies and detective movies. There is a samurai, there is a sword fight on a bullet train in this movie, and it's fucking awesome. And this is a film I would really like to see. It's directed by J.F. Lawton, and it stars Christopher Lambert, Joan Chen, and John Lone. John Lone has been in a lot of things. You will recognise him from certain movies. Also, Joan Chen is quite a well-known Asian actor. She was in a lot of stuff in the 90s in America. But yeah, this came out around the same time that there was this big boom in America where it came to Japanese culture being influenced in America. So there was this film, The Hunted. There was a film called Rising Sun, which starred Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, which is another good movie. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. I think that's got some Japanese sort of influence on it. Again, Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. That is essentially a remake of Zatoichi, the blind swordsman. But yeah, this is a really cool movie. I've watched this multiple times. I think it's one of Christopher Lambert's best movies outside of Highlander. This and what's the other film he made around the same time? Well, I say around the same time, the same film. But the movie he made at the same time, or the same year as this, would have been Mortal Kombat, where he played Raiden. What is the name of that movie that he did? Oh, Fortress, the Stuart Gordon movie, Fortress. That is a really fun science fiction movie, or science fiction action movie. The second one is absolute garbage, so I would highly recommend staying away from the second one. And there's another film he made called Adrenaline Fear the Rush, which co-starred Natasha Henstridge, who was in Species and The Whole 9 Yards and The Whole 10 Yards. So yeah, The Hunted, I really, really would like to see this get a high definition upgrade, because it is good. Jack Conroy did the photography, I guess. It's produced by John Davis and Gary Goldstein. It says I have to take my glasses off. Soundtrack album from Sony Music, which is interesting because I didn't know this had a released soundtrack for it. But this is released by Universal on DVD here in the UK, and I believe it's a Universal movie. Davis Entertainment Group and Bregman and Bayer Productions for Universal. I can't see why Universal can't release this on high definition in the UK. I'd buy it. I assume a lot of action movie fans would also buy it because it's a fun, good movie. Christopher Lambert's pretty damn good in this. Oh yeah, that's right. The other movies that came out around the same time would have been American Yakuza with Viggo Mortensen and American Yakuza 2 back to back, which had what's his name, Michael Rooker in it. Those two are really, really good movies. Although American Yakuza 2, it was originally just called Back to Back. They added the American Yakuza 2 title to it after American Yakuza came out, just to have them sit side by side. There was that one. I think there was one called Blue Tiger as well, which had I think it was Sherilyn Fenn from what's that movie? That TV show, Twin Peaks. She was in it. I think it was Sherilyn Fenn, but do not quote me on that. So there was a lot of these Yakuza in America movies made during the early to mid 90s, and I think The Hunted stands out as one of the better movies. This one's kind of a cheat, because this is the one I said has had a release on Blu-ray or high definition outside of the UK. It's The Way of the Gun. This film is badass. It has Benicio del Toro and Ryan Phillippe in it. It's written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who if you're a fan of movies, you will know he is responsible for the last 3 or 4, maybe last 3 Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise. This film is very different to the Mission Impossible movies. This is more along the lines of a Quentin Tarantino type film, but added the sort of Sam Peckinpah style gun violence of like The Wild Bunch and Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia and stuff like that. It also stars Juliette Lewis, Taye Diggs and James Caan. There is a scene at the beginning of the movie with Sarah Silverman where Ryan Phillippe's character tells her boyfriend to shut her up, and then follows with something very graphic. Cool movie, very, very good, very well made film, really well directed, greatly written by Christopher McQuarrie. And I'd love to see this get a high def release in the UK. I think it's had one in the States, but don't quote me on that. And I know it's had one in Germany because there is a yellow release of this, but I think it was only limited edition. But this would make a great addition to the sort of post Tarantino like throwback movies of the 70s, so like the neo-noir stuff. So yeah, I mean, also having James Caan in it is a bit of a throwback to like Thief, which again is one of the best movies of the 1980s. It's a Michael Mann movie. Michael Mann's first movie, the what's that film he made after it? The Keep. So he made Thief, then The Keep, and then I want to say Manhunter. I don't know if he made anything in between. I think he was just working primarily on Miami Vice at the time. So Manhunter, and then I think it was LA Takedown, and then we had to wait till 1995 for Michael Mann to make Heat, and we all know that Heat is fantastic, and obviously Collateral and The Contender and Ali, and then he made Black Hat, and what was the other one? Miami Vice, the Miami Vice movie with Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, and then what was the other one he did? Ferrari is the most recent one, I think. Ferrari. I think he made a film before Ferrari. I can't remember. Oh, Public Enemies was the other one as well, with Christian Bale and Johnny Depp. But this has that sort of like Tarantino, Michael Mann feel to it, while also being its kind of own thing, which is really cool. And so the gunfight at the end of this is incredible. It is hyper violent. It's not in the sort of what they call it, like the John Wick style, where it's like stylistically shot and stylistically choreographed. This is brutal, gritty, Sam Peckinpah, Western style shootout with shotguns and 1911s, which is really cool. As the thing says on the cover, gunfire, bloodshed, explosions, and mayhem. And that was a quote from Later magazine. From the Academy Award-winning writer of The Usual Suspects. That can tell you what kind of film you're going to really be into. So, yeah, I mean, this is released by Momentum here in the UK. But it's also made by Artisan. Yes, Artisan Entertainment. But I'm not sure if Artisan still exist. I know they released a lot of DVDs in the early 2000s and stuff. You could get a lot of stuff on the Artisan label. I say it was a label. It wasn't really a label. It wasn't. But yeah, Way of the Gun is definitely in need of a high def upgrade at some point in the near future. I'd love to see someone like 101 Films or what's the other label? Not Powerhouse, because they're more cult classics, sort of stuff like that. Maybe Arrow could do a really good release of Way of the Gun, but Arrow seem to be focusing solely on studio shit at the moment. So yeah, that's Way of the Gun. It's a great movie, definitely worth checking out. Now, this is a film that's never had a release in the UK, and it is a horror movie from Eric Red, who wrote, or co-wrote, the vampire film Near Dark. That's the one. It takes me a second because I've got to flick through all the IMDb brain just to remember. So Eric Red co-wrote Near Dark and Catherine Bigelow's first film, which I think was called the Faithless or something like that. It's a biker movie that starred Willem Dafoe. It was like 1983, I think it was. But he co-wrote Near Dark, and he also wrote and directed this, which is a very cool werewolf movie, one which I think is sadly overlooked quite a lot when people talk about werewolf movies. Like, I love a werewolf movie. I love American Werewolf in London. I enjoy American Werewolf in Paris. There's films like The Howling, another really good 80s werewolf movie directed by Joe Dante, with one of the most amazing werewolf transformations ever that happened to Robert Picardo in that film. Not as chilling and as like messed up as American Werewolf in London, but yeah, I mean, we don't seem to get enough werewolf films these days. I think the last one was maybe Late Phases or Wolf Cop, but I recently just got the 4K of Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers, which I watched last night, and holy shit, it looks amazing, by the way. Shot on 16mm originally. How the fuck they made it look as good as it does in this is unbelievable. But Dog Soldiers is a fantastic movie, but probably one of the best of the last sort of generation of like 2000s-ish werewolf films. So it would have been like Dog Soldiers and like Ginger Snaps, which again is a great movie. I'm not including Twilight in that because Twilight is not a werewolf movie. It's a film which has shirtless Native Americans turning into gigantic fucking wolves. But this film is called Bad Moon. It's very cool. It has Michael Paré in it and Mariel Hemingway. It's directed by, like I said, Eric Red. And yeah, it's really, really cool. There's a dog in this. It's a bit like, I think it's like a Labrador or something. I can't remember, but Michael Paré is awesome in this. He never really became a massive star. I think he did Eddie and the Cruisers and Eddie and the Cruisers 2 and Streets of Fire, where he played Tom Cody, and then he made like Bad Moon, which is a really good werewolf movie. But he sort of like drifted and went in a different direction when, I suppose, he's kind of not the same kind of actor he was in the 80s, because now he just basically either makes Uwe Boll movies or really shit asylum sci-fi mockbusters. But yeah, this is really, really cool. Very, very worth your time. Would love to see this get a Blu-ray release in the UK. It's a Warner Brothers release. It's a Warner Brothers movie made by Morgan Creek, so fingers crossed that Warner Brothers actually see that people want to buy and own these movies, and they will actually get off their arse and maybe release this to maybe the archives, the Warner Brothers archives. I'm not sure if they have in the past. I don't know. It would have been a brilliant title to see with the premium collection when HMV were doing it. I think that would have sat perfectly with a film like Wolfen, which they also released, which is, again, is a good 70s Albert Finney. I think it was Albert Finney werewolf movie. So yeah, Bad Moon is another film I would love to see get a full HD, maybe even a 4K release, because I think it's about time more people saw Bad Moon, because it is a very cool film. Now this is a film I remember watching. This is a VHS movie I saw as a kid. This is the DVD, by the way. This was one of those films you go to a video shop and you look through the sections, you see this film, and it's like, that's got Luke Skywalker in it. So it's like, what is that? It's not Star Wars, and it's not what you'd expect Mark Hamill to be in. But this film is a bit of an obscure oddity when it comes to post-apocalyptic science fiction. It's the movie Slipstream. This is a 1989, 1987, I think. Might be 1987 or 1989. Post-apocalyptic sci-fi cop movie, I guess. Directed by Steven M. Lisberger. Steven Lisberger directed the original Tron, if you weren't aware, and the Disney film The Animalympics, which is an odd one for me to know. But this has got Mark Hamill and Bill Paxton, Bob Peck, Kitty Aldridge, Eleanor David, Robbie Coltrane, Ben Kingsley, and F. Murray Abraham. And it's about like the world where nature has gone mad, and the only way to really travel is via gliders that glide on like a wind slipstream. And Mark Hamill is a cop who is after Bill Paxton, who is a sort of runaway fugitive, and they meet up with Bob Peck, who is like this butler, and he takes him to this manor house, and it's like this weird sort of robot thing. It's a very obscure, bizarre movie. It says, from the depths of the earth to the edge of existence, the hunt is on. Slipstream. Now, this is one, I picked this up many moons ago. This came into Blockbuster as a trade-in, and at the moment I saw it, I was like, I'm having that. I'm buying Slipstream, because I remember it from the days of the VHS rental, along with films like Biggles and what was the other one? Biggles and High Road to China, those type of movies, those sort of PG-13 sort of films that were like kid-friendly but also aimed at adults as well. I mean, this is a PG here in the UK, but this was released by Entertainment in Video, or EIV, in the UK, which is, I don't know if EIV is still going, but they used to release pretty much everything here in the UK. I think maybe Dread was released by EIV in the UK. I think it might have been one of the last ones that they released. Yeah, so EIV released Dread. And yeah, so I think Disney need to sort their shit out. This is it Disney? Who released it? Doesn't actually say who released it or who financed it. But if it's owned by Disney, which I'm assuming it might very well be, because it is Steve Lisberger, and he did direct Animalympics for Disney and Tron. Yeah, from the producers of Star Wars and the director of Tron. Yeah, definitely worth an upgrade for this. I mean, the DVD is not in its original aspect ratio. I do believe it's in 4:3. And it was shot in widescreen, but you don't get that image, obviously, because this is a sort of, I want to say budget DVD, but it's not a budget DVD. Because I think this came out in the very early days of DVD. But I would love to see this get a really cool maybe 4K or just even a high definition upgrade, special edition, maybe again from like 101 Films or possibly Arrow. I'd say Arrow, but Arrow, like I said, they seem to be focusing on more doing like big box set collector's editions these days. You don't generally see them put out many like standard releases anymore. You just get the limited editions, which I can fully understand why they're doing that. They make more money that way. You charge, I don't know, $14.99 for a standard edition, but then you can charge $22.99 or $24.99 for a collector's edition. It makes more sense business wise because people will generally go for the collector's edition. But yeah, Slipstream is definitely in need of a high def release in the UK, and I think 101 Films would probably be the better option as for a label or a boutique label to release. Now this is one that I do know is coming out on Blu-ray in the UK. First time ever on home media in the UK is George Romero's Bruiser. This is a thriller, not necessarily a horror movie, but it's got Jason Fleming, Peter Stormer, there's a Leslie Hope, and Nina Garbiras. I never heard of her, but written and directed by George A. Romero. This is the movie he made before returning to the zombie genre. I think I mentioned this in the last video. Before returning to the zombie genre for Land of the Dead, and then followed it up with Diary and Survival of the Dead. This is about a guy who wakes up one day and he hasn't got a face. His face is just a mask, like a plain white mask, just nothing, a porcelain mask. And he has to sort of figure out why this has happened to him and get to the bottom of it. It's a pretty cool little thriller. Like I said, it's got Jason Fleming in it, which is, if you watch a lot of British gangster movies, you'll notice Jason Fleming. He's also in Snatch. He plays one of the pikeys. He is in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I think he's in Layer Cake. I'm not 100% sure, but he's definitely in Transporter 2. He is the guy that Jason Statham goes up against at the dentist's hospital when they try and kidnap the child. But yeah, this is apparently coming out soon. Well, not soon, but I think it was announced maybe by Arrow. I'm not sure. It might even be Powerhouse or Radiance or Eureka. I'm not sure. It's one of the labels here. It's one of the boutique labels here in the UK. But yeah, this is a really, really cool movie. If you love like George Romero's work, so from Night of the Living Dead all the way through like Martin, The Crazies, There's Always Vanilla, I think was one of the other ones, and his like 80s output like Day of the Dead and Creep Show, The Dark Half, and then Monkey Shines, that type of stuff. You'd probably really get on with this. It's a decent movie. It's definitely worth a watch. And even though this says it's released, well, this is a horror release. It's not really a horror film. I'd say it's more of a dark thriller. And it's released by Lionsgate in America. This is, like I said, this is the Region 1 DVD. Yeah, released by Lionsgate. And yeah, I think Lionsgate could probably sort out a 4K. But like I said, I think it is coming. So yeah, Bruiser is a really, really cool movie that's definitely worth your time when it comes out. And the final one is a film that is sort of horror science fiction, but more in the vein of like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits, like that type of sci-fi horror. It is, I want to say, a Christmas movie as well, but it's a film about a road trip with a family on a road trip that goes disastrously wrong, where they find themselves in a sort of loop. It's called Dead End. It's very fun, very cool little scene horror movie, I guess. Sci-fi horror movie, comedy-ish. It's got Ray Wise from a lot of stuff, but most notably, I'd say Twin Peaks again. Alexandra Holden, Lynn Shay, that tells you what you need to know. Lynn Shay is in this. And Mick Cain, Amber Smith, and Billy Asher, whoever they are. But yeah, Lin Shaye and Ray Wise are probably the most obvious names that will stand out. Alexandra Holden, if you don't know, she was in Friends. She was the college girl who went out with Ross, whose dad was played by Bruce Willis, who was phenomenal in that role. Yeah, definitely. Again, this is another film that is definitely in need of a like a high definition release in the UK. There's a lot of films that were released in the UK on DVD, especially horror movies in the early 2000s, like this, like Death Watch and Creep, that just they've never had anything higher than a DVD release. And I think that's why DVD was such a good format, because everything got released on DVD. Everything. Like, I've got some stuff that is just so bizarre. I was going through it all earlier. Like, if I look to the shelves on the side, I've got Made Men, an action movie starring Jim Belushi and Timothy Dalton. It's just a really weird sort of, almost no one really knows that movie. Like, it's a good action film as well. But I've also got The Best Men, another action film that starred Drew Barrymore, Dean Cain, and I think it's Luke Wilson. Again, no one really knows that movie because it's just such a bizarre, obscure movie. But it came out on DVD. So it's like back in the day when VHS, everything got released on VHS. Everything got released on DVD. But only select titles now seem to be getting released on Blu-ray or 4K. And I think with the condition on some of the DVDs, or some of the picture quality on some of the DVDs, especially Slipstream, something like that, it really does deserve like a bit more preservation, maybe a high def upgrade or a remaster or something like that, just to preserve the quality of the film. But I think that's why DVD really stood out for me when it first came out and took over from VHS, because VHS, we all collected VHS. We all had these chunky boxes and stuff, or you had those VHS boxes that looked like library books, like Encyclopedia Britannia, that type of stuff. So I think, yeah, DVD, when DVD came out, a lot of companies saw an opportunity to put their catalogue of movies out into the world at a reasonable, affordable price. Because when VHS came out, if you were going to buy a VHS, not necessarily towards during the 90s and stuff like that, but VHSs weren't cheap. They were quite expensive. Like rental copies, if you were buying a rental copy of a VHS, it could cost up to 80 quid. And then you'd make that money back through rentals. But like something like Dead End, or something like The Hunted, or Bad Moon, or Low Down Dirty Shame, Bruiser, these are films that really do deserve to be seen by more people, because they are good movies. They're maybe not the greatest movies ever made, but if you look at some of the stuff that Vinegar Syndrome puts out, or Powerhouse puts out, or fucking Arrow put out, like half the shit that they put out is not the best quality production wise. I mean, I don't particularly want to spend 70 quid on a box set of Mexican wrestler movies from Powerhouse. That doesn't mean someone else would. I mean, it's not something that's particularly of interest to me, but it might be of interest to someone else, which is completely fair. But then I'm not a person who can influence what is released and what isn't released. It's all down to licensing rights and what it costs to license these movies. Like, some of these films might not be released on Blu-ray in the UK because it could be licensing rights that prevent that from happening. Like with Friday the 13th. I mean, the first film is released by Warner Brothers here in the UK, but it's made by Paramount. But the others are made by Paramount. So why was Friday the 13th, a Paramount movie, released in the UK via Warner Brothers? It's because Warner Brothers just had the rights to release it in the UK. I mean, that seems to be a majority, the case for a majority of these movies. Not specifically the ones that I've chosen today, but ones that aren't available, that are available elsewhere. I mean, which is why Arrow can't release things like The Warriors or Conan here in the UK, because the UK license rights, release rights, are owned by a different company. So in America, the Universal own Conan the Barbarian. But in the UK, it is a 20th Century Fox product. So you can get it on Blu-ray, but it's an inferior version. But because they don't see the merit in, well, the point of putting money into releasing these films in the UK, you just get the standard Blu-ray. You don't get a 4K, or you don't get like the super deluxe like Arrow treatment that you would get from Arrow. Same with The Warriors. I think The Warriors is released by Warner Brothers here in the UK as well. I mean, I think the DVD was released by Warner Brothers. Might be a different company, actually. I don't think it was. I think Paramount did release it in the UK on DVD and on Blu-ray. But don't quote me on that. Yeah, so the director's cut was released of The Warriors was released here in the UK by Paramount. And I know the theatrical cut DVD was released by Paramount as well. But why, whatever company does own that isn't releasing it? Maybe it's Warner Brothers who... Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like a different swap around from like Conan to or Friday the 13th to The Warriors. So it was made by Warner Brothers and released by Paramount, as opposed to being made by Paramount and released by Warner Brothers. But yeah, I mean, DVD is just a really cool format. There's a lot of films that are available. If you're not buying Blu-rays and 4Ks, but there's films that you want that you can get for a cheap price on DVD, pick it up. You can find them in charity shops, possibly, I guess. I walked into a charity shop the other day, and it was just generic DVDs that just you can get anywhere. You can get them in Cash Gen or fucking CEX for 50p and stuff like that. So it's just the same stuff that you will find over and over again. But you can find some gems. That's all I'm saying. So if you can find the theatrical DVD of The Warriors for like £1, £2, I highly recommend picking it up, because the Blu-ray for the director's cut, while it looks good, the director's cut is fucking awful. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about. Just some obscure sort of movies in my collection that haven't had the love and care given to them that I think they should. So yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed this, I know it's a bit more of a recommendation-y type of video, and it's more focused on DVD and not specifically on Blu-rays and stuff, but it is still physical media at the end of the day. If you enjoyed this video, obviously, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I don't know if there's a notification bell. I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to that side. I know, thank you everyone for commenting on the last couple of videos. I've been stuck in work for the last couple of days, so I haven't really had a chance to reply to most of them. There is maybe one or two that I have done, but yeah, if you want to see more videos like this in the future, just give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to throw up the peace sign, give you a salute, and say, I'm out. Cheers.